Good people of a great nation, once again I welcome you to Development Focus with Didi Ojo on ITV. Recall that I said on top of the hour we are going to be discussing Nigeria's civil military relations. And my Oga at the top is here. He's a juggernaut, a man of many parts. I don't know how he copes. So many things rolled into one. He's a legal luminary, he's a journalist, he's an editor, he's a film producer, he's a strategist, media consultant, everything. He's a civil society activist. I'm talking of Charles Odenigbo Esquire. You're welcome, sir.
Dr. Ojo, good morning. I'm just a simple human being.
I know, but you are more than simple. You are just a simultaneous equation because you wear so many caps. It's very difficult to pigeonhole you into a specific role. But Nigerians would like to know you more. I may not have done justice to introducing you. Yes. Since I met you, we have met at different fora.
Correct.
And I cannot cease to be amazed by your versatility and resourcefulness. But maybe for the benefit of our viewer, just tell us a bit more about yourself.
Thank you very much. Usually from my childhood, I've always loved to make things clear to people. God gave me the gift to communicate in a way that people can understand the most complex things. And over time, God has given me the opportunity to be able to read, write, and speak Yoruba language, to read, write, and speak the Hausa language. As a matter of fact, I have credit in my school sat in Hausa. I read, write, and speak the Igbo language as well, and understand many Nigerian languages, which has helped me to understand Nigerians and also travel far. As a young man, I've always had a sense of justice. And moral, that's one of the reasons why I'm an activist. I believe that it is dangerous to be concerned with what people think about you. But if you trust in the Lord, you are safe. God has been good. We serve this country. I've met you over time. I'm a teacher. I teach advertising law, regulation, and ethics. I'm a journalist. I've worked with the various media houses and was privileged to be managing director, editor-in-chief of the Post Express newspaper, defunct, and also served in Tell magazine. I worked as deputy general editor of the Broad Street Journal. I was privileged to work in Bureau of Public Enterprises to handle communications, marketing, and external relations on privatization and commercialization. Worked for the European Union as legal consultant on election observation management. I've done exploratory management. I've done expert management. I've monitored most primaries on behalf of some international organizations. I produce films, I direct movies, I write, I edit. I
said it. If we leave Oga to talk about himself, you know, he's an encyclopedia actually, and I'm not being flirtatious to say he's a very resourceful and very versatile individual. I just don't know how you cope with all your commitments within 24 hours. You seem to need 72 hours for one day.
I hardly sleep much. Wow. You have to read. That's why I went to US to learn speed reading.
Wow.
Now I can read 2,500 words per minute.
What?
Yes, when I got to US, I enrolled at 149 words per minute. Today, I can do 2,500. And I'm still wanting to do more because there's an Indian man that reads 15,000 words per minute.
Wow.
Yes.
That would be another day to discuss speed reading. I've learned a new thing. Now, we talk about civil military relations. What exactly does that mean to a pedestrian layman on the street?
Thank you very much. What it means is about mindset. Every relationship in life is a mindset. If you follow Newton's first law of motion in physics, which I did, it says A body in a state of rest or motion continues along a straight line until or unless acted upon by external forces to make it change its direction. That's Newton's first law of motion. Now, it applies in other spheres of life. Yes, in science it may be a law, but in relationships it's also a law. The military, by training, have a mindset. The civilian, by upbringing and training, also have another kind of mindset. But you find that they all live in the same community. The role of the military is always defined from the armed forces of Nigeria, the Navy, the Air Force, the Army. Then other paramilitary bodies have their own mindsets, also different. Now, when you come to the congregation of the military, you will notice that they have conventional ways of doing things. From the lowest level to the highest level, there's a command chain. In the civilian sector, that is not how things are done. We are acculturated, language barrier, tribe, religion, and a lot of things, social relationship, political system, and the rest of them, they affect the civilian. Now, when you now bring these two together in a conflict situation like we are facing today, the equation changes completely. Originally, the military was meant to defend the territorial integrity, the territorial space of Nigeria against foreign invasion. But that is what we call interstate crisis, conflict, when we are against another state trying to invade us. The military was trained to do that. But again, the military also engages internally. When the internal security situation is overcharged for other paramilitary or security agencies to manage, like the Nigerian police force, which is more civil, then the military have to step in. Today, we are faced with intrastate war, not interstate. The military today is confronted by so many challenges. In the northeast, we have terrorism known as Boko Haram. In the northwest, we have armed banditry. In the north central, we have farmers, herders, clashes. In the southwest, we have Oduduwa Republic agitation and heavily organized crimes in the southwest. In the northeast and southeast, we have the IPOB secessionist agitation. In the south, we have militancy. We have pipeline vandalism. Then we also have the issue of media nationwide. Different media, different objectives, different ways of covering the things happening, especially when it comes to military. Now, the military sensibility can easily be irritated if they are not understood and handled properly. The civilian does not understand how the military man thinks. He does not understand them. So the perception of the military is force. Come there and use force to quell everything and go. And the civilian is saying, no, I don't need force. I need you to engage me. I need to understand why you want to use force. Beat me with koboko, use the butt of gun to hit me, shoot me. He doesn't understand that because he's not used to the military in that kind of environment. So almost everywhere in Nigeria today, you find military here and there, checkpoints, schools, and the rest of them. So now there is a relationship of fear on one hand in the mindset of the people, and then on the other side, the military is overstretched with
in fact, we learned that Nigerian military has deployed into 32 out of 36 states in Nigeria, helping with law and order, internal operations.
Yes.
And you know, right now they are doing Operation Golden Dawn. Beautiful. In the southeast. Yes. We have had Python dance, Operation Crocodile dance, Operation Desert Storm. No, I think that's US. Yeah. You know, all manner of things. What is this? You are not a military general, but why do they coin? I wish I'm talking to the chief of army staff. Or why do they always have to coin this labeling, like we label budget? You know, what is the budget? The name of the budget of Cross River? the current of 2022.
I forgot budget
of now, the military will always say, we are doing Operation Python dance.
Yes.
We are doing Operation Crocodile dance. We are doing Operation Golden Dawn.
Exactly.
We are doing Operation Wide Stroke.
Yes.
All of that. What necessitates that? Is it to distinct one operation from the other? Did they have to even name those operations, as it were?
Which is why there is need for conflict-sensitive communication. When the military coin languages of operation, they have to be very mindful of the mindset of the people they are meant to protect. They are not meant to protect just the president and commander-in-chief or the politically exposed persons. They are there for everybody. And when different sections of the society begin to listen to the language that the military coin for their operation, it triggers either positive or negative response. And this shapes their perception. Perception is how people feel about you. They may not necessarily know you well. They may not understand you, but when they perceive you and form an opinion about you, that is who you are. A couple of years ago, I went to Maiduguri to present a paper. There were army and a lot of different stakeholders gathered. And one of the things I recommended in that place was the language that the military use. Some of this coded operation language, they are counterproductive.
Yeah, well, when you say crocodile dance,
yes,
Python dance,
against your own citizens,
crocodile smile, yes, Python dance. Why that imagery of crocodile smile,
you know,
Python dance, Golden Dawn?
Beautiful. Now, if they use Golden Dawn, the people need to understand what Golden Dawn means. The Python dance is Python dance of attack. It means the python wants to strike, and the python is going to squeeze the person and swallow the person completely. Now, this is a Nigerian military person coming with that kind of a dance against his own fellow citizen that is not doing the right thing. So there is need for dialogue now. In this military-civil relationship, there is need for the military to make themselves to be understood by the people. Because today, the bullet cannot shoot a mind. The bullet can only kill a person. And you know, once an idea spreads, the bullet cannot kill it. Because the Yorubas have a saying that, Ebo Osho, Inye Sheru, Ebo Aje, Inye Sheru, but Ebo Alaroka, that is, when a witch does anything against you, it can be destroyed, it can be neutralized. When a wizard does anything against you, it can be neutralized. But when a gossip, somebody begins to spread rumors about you, misleading information, fake news, and the rest about you, there is no juju man that can neutralize that.
Which brings us, Barrister Odenigbo, it brings us to this issue of IPOB, activities in the Southeast.
Yes.
Look at ahead of another election on November 6th, which is about 72 hours from now. A lot of fake news is being peddled, including, I heard yesterday, they said INEC chairman murdered, assassinated. I said, how did that happen? Meanwhile, later we got to know that as at the time that news broke, the man is even here in Abuja, about to catch a flight to Oka. And this issue of fake news, it has also affected the military. Wrong accusations, all manner of fake news spread about their operations. Some, they will even say that they are collecting bribe and that they are not doing their activities with humaneness and all of that. So how do we deal with, arising from what you said about the activities of gossip, who is out there misinforming the public about operations and activities of the Nigerian military.
Yes.
All because they want them out of their environment. They want them out, and for them to be out, they needed to paint them black. You know, there is a musical group called Color Me Bad, isn't it? So you want to color them bad so that you say, no, we don't want you. But here we are. Elections cannot be held in Nigeria of today without the military support. Given the fact that police cannot carry weapons around the polling units, you know much of elections I do.
Yes.
And people want the military not to be involved because that will give the bad boys the leeway to do as they wanted. So how do you strike a compromise between labeling and wrong profiling of the military in their operations, whether election operation or even in terms of what is going on, particularly in the southeast?
Thank you. Let me begin with the peddling of fake news. The media, the conventional media, the radio stations, TV stations, newspapers, magazines that are established, the editorial rule that guides the ethics of journalism guides all of them across board. Now the question is, if that is what happens, where then is fake news coming from? Fake news is coming from where? The social media. Now, if fake news is coming from the social media, it means that people who are not trained journalists, people who are not trained media practitioners, have the media tool in their hands to deploy whatever they want. When a man is angry, whatever he posts is going to be full of misinformation because he is angry. It is not that an event happened that the angry man is reporting. The angry man is reporting something that is bothering him inside about his perception of something. I don't know if you are getting me. So when he posts, you that you are receiving it, you are calling it what? Fake news. You are calling it what? Misinformation.
Or
you are saying,
speech.
yes, but what the person is saying is not reporting an event. The person is expressing his displeasure about something. I don't know if you are getting me. So you that you received it, to you, it is fake. But from where the thing is coming out, it is real. But it is full of what? Anger. Now, Nigeria has never been more divided than we are today. We are divided along tribal, ethnic, religion, name it, different kinds of lines have divided us. And who is the person behind this division? Who will post and wish the INEC chairman dead from his post? That person must be terribly angry. There is need to identify these angry groups. When you identify these angry groups, you understand what is making them to be unhappy. The question is, how can you address it in such a way that you will calm them down? That is where media reportage of military and civilian relationship becomes very, very important. When an angry post come out and the federal government or state government label it fake news, who are they to label anger as fake news? I think they do not qualify to say that when somebody is expressing his displeasure about something that he perceives is not favorable to him or is a threat to him, that is fake news. No, not every post is fake, but the one against the INEC chairman definitely is fake news. But we need to now lift the corporate veil and check who is behind this news that is being peddled. We need to find out, why will you release this type of information out there when you know that it is not the truth? Now we cannot track such person, but the person have posted that thing out. How do we manage such kind of information? That is where the civil-military relationship come into play.
Now, still talking civil-military relations, we'll come to the issue of media reportage. Yeah. I just want our viewers to understand exactly what we mean when we are talking of civil-military relations. Recently, Chiwetala Agu, that actor, wore an apparel, a dress, purportedly in support of IPOB,
yes,
which is proscribed, and he was picked up by the military, by soldiers in Onitsha area of Anambra State, and it went viral, and people were like, "Oh, you are free to wear any dress of your choice. Why should that be criminalized? Why should the man be picked up for wearing a cloth? And you know, is it that he has to take permission from the military to wear a particular dress?" And opinions were divided, even among the Igbos. Some felt he was inciting wearing that kind of dress, even if he didn't openly say, "I'm a supporter of IPOB." The fact that you are wearing the apparel that is the flag, purported flag of Biafra, is inciting to some people, and while others felt is right as citizen, right to free speech, right to freedom of movement, right to dress the way he likes, has been infringed upon, that the military should not have concerned itself by arresting Chiwetala, is it Chiwetala? Chiwetala Agu, thank you. So, where do you stand in this? Do you think the military did well by picking him up and later send him to the DSS for further interrogation, or should they have just ignored him and allowed him to do his tricks?
Jide, you can see where the issue of mindset reset come into play. The government officials need their heads to be reset. When you see a third-party influencer of the caliber of Chiwetala Agu, are you with me?
Yeah.
Wearing a Biafra, IPOB dress code or flag or color or symbol. I watched that video. He parked his truck. I don't know the name of that thing. Is it a bus? He came out of that bus wearing it like this dress that regalia, came out, took a walk around, and then went back to his vehicle. And then I saw army or military people come on scene to pick him. For me, I thought that he was there to survey where he will shoot a movie. In my own interpretation of what happened was that as a movie person, he is trying to produce a movie about things happening between Nigeria, IPOB, Biafra, and the rest. That was my own idea first, until this thing escalated. The question is, who stands to benefit when that actor is wearing such regalia? The government stands to benefit. IPOB stands to benefit. Nigeria stands to benefit.
Also.
Beautiful. If he can wear the regalia of Biafra and that happens, what if he was wearing the national flag of Nigeria? What would have happened? If he wore green, white, green as a dress and drop in Onitsha and move around, what would have happened to him? Either he will have been lynched by those who support IPOB. Do you understand me? The mob will have gone for him. So the reverse is now that he is wearing that of IPOB, and the federal government is now reacting to it. For me, when they get such a man, they need to sit down with him and ask him, what informed your actions? You know, we now, beyond conflict-sensitive communication, there's what we call conflict-sensitive approaches. Do you get me now? So you engage Mr. Agu, and find out what was in his mind when he got up in his house, took his shower and put on that dress, entered his car, kicked this vehicle and drove it out, went to that place, parked the vehicle, came out and walked around and went back to his. What was on your mind? What do you want to achieve? If he explains it and you understand, then you engage him. He becomes like let me say a terrorist that surrendered to the military. When you get such a person, you purge the person before you allow the person to be reintegrated back into society. The government need to check this man to know whether he is in his right senses, to know whether he had taken a substance at that time when he came out. We don't know what happened to him. Was he drunk when he was doing that?
Or was he just seeking attention?
He doesn't need attention. He's already a celebrity.
Because yes, the fact that you are a celebrity, Oga, even if you are a celebrity, we know what our celebrities do. Some will even deliberately leak their own nude picture.
Yes.
They are already a celeb.
Yes.
Some will do things, some have orchestrated their own kidnap, some have announced their own obituary,
yes,
all because they want to trend. I mean, I'm only saying, reinforcing what you said, yes, that could Mr. Chiwetel Agu also want to trend and say, okay, I will do something that will make people that will make me to be signature of all eyes.
Thank
that
you.
I will now trend globally.
God.
And so this mindset is what I'm saying.
It's what we need to reset.
Exactly.
Yes.
Psychoanalysis of this event. Why did he choose to do that, knowing full well that there is a military operations, the soldiers are on stand on hand around that place, and he chose of all the dresses he has to wear IPOB or Biafra regalia. Anyway, let's IPOB
has been proscribed
exactly,
and declared a terrorist organization. For an actor of his level that is consumed on African Magic Epic, the man is epic. The man is the symbol. He uses some kind of language in his movie that has separated him.
It's in a class of alias 430. What is it?
Yes, Zebudaya.
It's just like maybe it belongs to the younger generation.
Yeah, he can communicate with
exactly.
them. Yeah. So I would have expected the government to do what a civil. The military, I expected the military to have related with him in a civil manner. Now, if he's in DSS camp or custody, the question is, what did they find about what motive?
It's been released eventually. Anyway.
Yes, it was released, but he should not just be released. He should be engaged. He becomes a third-party influencer. If he can do such a thing and create that kind of reaction across the country. Don't forget Newton's first law of motion. You will see that a body in a state of rest or motion continues along a straight line unless acted upon by external forces to make it change its direction. We apply it socially now. You will see that it is to the advantage of Nigeria to use that type of a human being to communicate better to different parts of this country. Okay,
now I think we have sufficiently tried to analyze what civil-military relation is, and we have even drawn examples.
Yes.
Now let's look at the media reportage of conflict in Nigeria. As a journalist, as an editor, as a gatekeeper in this industry, what is your overall assessment? Not necessarily in terms of civil-military relations, in terms of the reportage of conflict in Nigeria. What is your assessment as a stakeholder?
I give the media 100 over 100%. I will tell you why. In basic news reporting, you know we have the inverted pyramid.
Yes.
The 4 wives and 1 husband, or 5 wives and 1 husband.
Yes,
yes. The what, the where, the who, and the
how. Yeah.
Now, I have done the 4 or 5 wives, I've done the husband. The magazine does the how. We now pick, we look at stories trending, and we say, okay, we zero in on this and we want to engage in investigative reporting at our editorial conference level. So we come up with a story budget. Now, our story budget is a package out of which one or two will become the cover, the lead or the cover story. And then we go for editorial board meeting, we brainstorm on it, and we say, okay, we will pick this story. We want you to investigate this story. We want you to investigate this story. As an editor, I'm the general in that place. And I say, I want to hear the following voices because of balance, because of fairness. And the editorial independence means that no external body is influencing our editorial procedure. And so we make sure that we take care of national interest, we take care of access to information. You must be able to use any method that is fair to get information. Can the media cook up an event? The answer is no. I was on a nation.
Are you so sure about that? That the media cannot cook up an event?
I'm coming. The media cannot cook up an event. For instance, a day or two ago, you were on a particular station where I did a review. And one of the story was that the federal government attributed pipeline vandalism in the sum of our 800 and something million naira or billion as a loss to Nigeria. And in the last 9 months or so, or 1 year, 9 months. Now, my question on air was, in the last 9 months, we have been in pandemic, we have entered the post-pandemic, and we are now inside the normal pandemic scenario, situation. What product do you have carried in the pipeline? Kaduna refinery is not working. Warri refinery is not working. Port Harcourt refinery is not working. So what product do you have in that pipeline in the last 9 months? The depot in Suleja they are not carrying products to that place. I need to know how the products are being transmitted. Did the media cook up that story? No. What happened in Plateau State House of Assembly? Did the media organize it? No. What happened in Northwest, North Central? Did the media organize it? No. What happened during PDP convention in the Eagle Square? Did the media plan it? No. What the media does is to report events. Number one, if we check 10 events that the media have covered and reported, can we pick one of them that did not take place? All these things I have told you now, they actually happened, isn't it? The question then is, if the media does not cook up events and they are reporting things that happened, are they carrying out their duties? Section 22 of the Constitution says that the press, radio, TV, and the mass media shall at all times uphold the fundamental principles in Chapter 2, as well as uphold the responsibility and accountability of the government to the people. Now, is the media doing that? The media is doing it perfectly well. So the media is not going to be rated on the failings of government or the private sector. The media is going to be rated on the objective for which the media was established.
Okay, you've given the media pass mark. I think you are being biased. I dare say you are being biased because we know. I belong to this sector. I belong to this industry, both print and electronic.
Yes.
And we know that there are excesses on the part of some of our colleagues. Issue of sensationalism.
Yes.
Issue of, let's interrogate this. There is an accident or an incident that happens where lives are lost. If you take account of 5 newspapers, you are going to see different casualty figure.
Yes.
Some will even say 50. Some is, I read the report of there was an attack on a market in Sokoto about last week or thereabouts.
It's over 2 weeks ago.
About that. And one newspaper said 30 murdered. Another said 40. On the same issue. Why is there that variation Is it that all the reporters are not talking to the right people, or they are just giving estimates of their own or what they feel should be the number of people that may have died in such attacks?
I learned journalism. I have postgraduate qualification in PR advertising. I went to study journalism. Apart from being a lawyer, I studied all of them. I'm certified. Now, when a newspaper, don't forget that newspaper is working with deadlines. And when we go out to gather information as reporters, you need the police. The police must give you reports. If the police does not have report, the hospital where casualties or bodies were taken, you can visit the morgue and they will give you a figure. Or you can speak to the people who were at the scene where the thing happened, some leaders there, they should be able to give you a figure. Now, in Nigeria, we are a people that love to work without data. If on the same issue in sectors in Nigeria, the federal government will give you its own figure, the state government will give you its own figure, the private sector will give you its own figure. So for a journalist that goes to Sokoto, where there was a problem and people died, the question is, did people die? Yes. How many people died? Can the police supply the information? 99.9% of the time, the police cannot give you the accurate figure. So what happens is that each media house is on their own on that matter. So when you come there, your editor is saying, give me the story now, because I want this story in already working. And you are sending 30. The highest number from Sokoto was 50 among all the reports that we got. So if we now look at the base, say 30 to 50, a media house that said about between 30 to 50 people died is okay. If the media house say 50 people died, it's okay. If a media house say 30 persons murdered, is correct. Who do we blame in this scenario? Is it the editor? The editor takes the blame, and not the journalist that sent in the report. No journalist, none of my reporters will send a story to me that I will not cross-check using all the parameters of a journalist to assess that thing. So we blame the editor for not stretching himself. I think that the editor should ask them to get him the commissioner of police in the state or the DPO of the place where that thing happens. So,
which then means that due diligence are not being done by some of our gatekeepers in the media industry.
To some extent.
Okay, so in the October 1 speech of the president, October 1, 2021 speech of the president, there is a paragraph that tends to accuse media practitioners of not being fair to this administration in the way its activities are being reported. And I've also read somewhere, I don't know whether that information is from the military, where they said that there is a need for better balanced reporting of conflict situation in Nigeria. That came out like a couple of weeks ago from government quarters, that the way the media is reporting conflict in Nigeria is of concern to them. Is it of concern to you as well? Particularly conflict sensitivity. Are we showing sufficient conflict sensitivity in which the media, in the way the media report conflict and crisis in Nigeria?
I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Media Today International. We do a lot of media research, media review. The missing gap is in conflict sensitive reporting from government and from the media. Don't forget that the government has not been fair to the media. This government and other governments have never been fair, because the government is always uncomfortable when it reads stories or watches news or listens to analysis on television and radio. Why is it so? Because when you are reporting, you are looking at government policy. You bring out the government policy out there and you analyze it. The government is not in a position to say a story was balanced or not balanced. The government is not qualified to do that. Number two, the media is the one that will maintain balance as ethics of the profession. And balance means what? Balance means that you listen to the voices of the organization involved. You also listen to the voice of those who have been affected. You listen to voice of opinion leaders. You listen to voice of industry, depending on which sector you are looking at. That is what balance means. So if I look at a story, I want to see the voices inside that story. If I'm reading your column, I'm going to rate you on fairness. I'm going to rate you on balance. I'm going to rate you on about 14 parameters. I will even look out for plagiarism. I will look out for your social responsibility in your reportage. I will look out for your independence, your objectivity in that your column. I will rate you professionally. Can the government do that professionally? Now the question is, in this pocket of government offices, do we have professional PR practitioners who are equipped to do the rating and advise government and say, this is our view on this story? There is what we call issues management. The government does not manage issues very well. So it is waiting for the media to do issues management for it. That is where this conflict is coming from, Jide. It is not because the media is not reporting conflict very well. If you check the story, there is a measure of balance. Now, most times when you put a call through to the government office or to the military department, maybe Navy, Army, or Air Force, the question is, how long does it take them to respond to a journalist inquiry? Do you understand me? Number two, the issue of Official Secret Act, the issue of confidentiality, the issue of sensitivity of military installations, military strategy, military equipment will affect the speed or timeline between which these people will respond to a media inquiry. So if you are saying that the media has not been fair, the question is, has the government been fair? When they ask for information, do you give them in a timely manner? Have they been enforcing the Freedom of Information Act properly, judicially, and judiciously? Those things, questions are hanging out there. So I am not going to blame the media. I am going to blame the federal government. The person who wrote that speech for the federal government made a big mistake, because in that speech, what you should have called that the media has not been fair or has not been balanced is to say that the media has not been using the professional ethical tools of journalism to report things. Are you with me? Then the ordinary man there will begin to ask, how do they do these things? I've just discussed some of them with you. So in my view, the federal government or the president's speech was wrong. 100 over 100 wrong. I give him 0 on that item because it is not balanced as well.
Okay. Now, let's come to the... You are organizing an event on Friday.
Yes.
Run us through what that is all about. And educate the public on that.
Thank you very much. On Friday,
Friday is 5th of
November, just 2 days from now, in Abuja, there will be a training for the top leaders in the armed forces of Nigeria on conflict-sensitive communication and defense information. We'll be looking at emerging issues and strategies in media relations. There are a lot of issues that are emerging today in public relations, in publicity, in advertising, in different aspects of communication. Technology is changing. The way things are done is changing. The question is the armed forces of Nigeria prepared, adequately prepared to handle these emerging issues as they come out? Because media has changed in so many ways. As we are on this program now, you can follow this station on Facebook, on Instagram, on as many as possible. If Twitter were to be functioning, they will be watching us on Twitter or following what we are doing. And that begins to tell you that the world have changed. The way the military used to do things in the past as interstate has changed. The military today is involved in intrastate activities at a very, very high level and is overstretched. The question is, are the public relations and defense information personnel, as well as policy makers and leaders in the military, adequately prepared to handle these emerging issues and strategies that are being used by others to manage media relations adequately? Those are things that we'll be looking at. And I think you will also honor us on Friday here, because your own paper that you'll be discussing is a very hot one. It's going to be as interactive as possible, and it is mainly professional and technical. Nothing like playing to the gallery, because we want to spend quality time, interact more, and let them go away with a new capacity on handling issues, dealing with fact-checking, for instance. Are they doing fact-checking the way the media is doing it? So they need to begin to understand how the media out there as a private sector is functioning, then how they can deploy things in a way that the public can understand them, perceive them better, and the goodwill, the favorable goodwill, will begin to flow. And then their own rules of engagement will also be balanced. The military also have the civil military department in the armed forces, which is very good. So if there is a civil military department in the military, it means that the military is also thinking. The Amnesty International and other human rights reports have come out with different kind of reports knocking the Nigerian military. Now Boko Haram will go to a community, kill 30 people. Nobody will feel anything about it. People will just talk and go. But when the military goes to a place and kill 10 Boko Haram people, some of the human rights reports will begin to say the military is not doing this, the military kill people, the military rape people. So there's need to go back to a situation where the military can build capacity. It's a capacity building workshop at the topmost level, as well as for the professionals in the armed forces of Nigeria.
You said something that struck me. And I think I can validate that by saying that the Nigerian military has changed also from what it used to be, a reactive military, and it's now becoming more proactive. And I think this kind of capacity building is needful. How do I mean? Look at it. Today, we have the Armed Forces Radio.
Correct.
Which is a right step in the right direction to communicate, connect with the people, to say this is our own side of this story.
Yes.
And I don't think it will be out of place to have a Nigerian Armed Forces TV, Armed Forces newspaper that also speak and inform the public about the activities of the military. Today we also have the Nigerian Police Radio, which is also a good thing. Now, it is said that nothing for us without us.
Yes.
If they are being badly reported in the media, now you have opportunity to say it the way it should be said and make the public to know and have better idea of how you go about your business.
That is what we want to achieve. It is actually proactive, conflict-sensitive communication and defense information. It is something that will be used to deal with the mindset. It is a mindset reset, capacity building. But it begins with them. It begins at their level. After them, you can now reach out to media practitioners. You can reach out to on-air personalities like you, on TV, on radio. You now reach out to other third-party influencers. So it's a gradual process, but it begins with the armed forces of Nigeria. Once they imbibe the culture of proactive, conflict-sensitive communication, and they also know how to deploy conflict-sensitive approaches, knowing the issue of adversarial language like the operations that you coded with for them, if they have a new language that the people perceive as helping them. If I use the word dish here now, Jide, dish means so many things in context. So when we look at a dish, it could mean food that we are going to eat. It could also mean something from which the food is placed that we are going to use to eat that food, isn't it? So when you say dish, it sends so many meanings to different kinds of people, just like our Chiwetalago. And I think that this is one of the things that we will be able to build come this Friday. And I'm sure you will oblige us with your presence on that day.
God willing. So it cannot be overemphasized that there is a need for significant improvement in civil-military relations. Obviously, Nigeria is going through a testy period.
Yes.
We are going through a challenging period. And, conflict-sensitive reportage cannot be overemphasized. Yes. It is needful, and I'm glad that the military agrees with you in organizing this. Yes. One of the good things I think the military has also done is to have a resource center. And I also know that the Nigerian police have a PR school now in, I think in Kefi or Lafia,
yes.
Which is being headed by ESP Ojuku. These are very good takeaway. Yes. It shows that our Nigerian military, they are not just doing, it's just not about shooting and killing. I mean, I'm even surprised that the military are involved in humanitarian services, offering medical support to communities where they are even having conflict. Giving people medical checks, run them through that high blood pressure check, diabetes check, and even giving them drugs. Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy doing all of this. And many people do not know it.
That is where we are going.
We are talking of communication, which is very important.
That is why this Chief of Defense Staff, if you watch this Chief of Defense Staff, he is a very thorough communicator. He believes in adding value. Every time he tells you add value, when we approach him and say, look, can you consider a capacity building for your people in this particular area? And we explain to him the underlying or underpinning needs for it. He understood it and said the Armed Forces of Nigeria is ready for this capacity building. And I would say kudos to him for embracing this type of innovation that is taking place in the communication world.
Okay, General Lucky Rabo, you had it from one of your disciples. So I want to thank you, Barrister Charles Odenigbo, for coming on this show. We hope to be there on Friday.
Thank you very much.
Where is that holding?
The defense headquarters. Yes, at defense headquarters.
At the central area.
Yes, opposite Agura Hotel.
Agura Hotel. Yeah,
yes,
that's central.
Yeah, that's where it's holding.
All right.
We'll be expecting you. We want you to come smoking. Share your thoughts. Just be yourself, because this Chief of Defense Staff is one of the greatest blessings to Nigeria. We can't have such people every time in this generation. Anyway,
we'll continue to play our own role, and we do commend the Nigerian military for the yeoman's job they are doing. It's not easy. They are also somebody's husband, somebody's wife, somebody's uncle, somebody's son and daughter. And we must see them as human beings first and foremost. Yes, there are lapses here and there, but I think overall they are doing their level best. And we wish them greater success. Thank you very much once again, Charles Odenigbo Esquire.
Thank you.
A man of many parts, a very highly resourceful and versatile individual. Do have a very great day in your other endeavors for the day.
Thank you.
And that will be a wrap on the first discussion segment of Development Focus with Jide Ojo on ITV.